Hello, my name is Tieran Steele and I'm the Program and Events Coordinator at the Aboriginal Friendship Centre here in Flin Flon. And I'd like to welcome you all to our celebration of Metis Heritage in May. I'd like to start this session off with a land acknowledgement. I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered here today on the traditional territories of the Cree, Dakota, Dene, Ojibwe, and Oji-Cree First Nations, as well as the homeland of the Métis Nation. Flin Flon is part of Treaty 5 territory, and they were signatories of this treaty with Indigenous peoples in 1908. And now I would like to welcome our special guest, Ron Burwash.
Okay, I'm Ron Burwash. I live in Flin Flon, and I'm a proud Métis, and I know lots about Métis culture, and so I'm kind of hoping that I could share something with you guys this month that maybe you don't know or you know already, which will be good if you do. So anyway, in the background first, we thought maybe we'd start with this flag here, this infinity flag. And the reason why it's called the infinity flag is because it's never ending. It goes like that. It actually joins the First Nation people and the Métis people together. And it'll never end. It continues on and on. And this flag here, this particular color of flag, because we have a red one, the same as my shirt here. It was they flew later on, but this flag here was flown at the Battle of the Seven Oaks by Cuthbert Grant, who was a great uncle to me. He had maybe I'd go back seven or eight generations to, but he was given this flag in 1813 by the Northwest Company. Not the Hudson Bay Company, as somebody might have thought, because they were a big, powerful fur trading company as well, and they were competing against each other. But so in 1813, they gave Cuthbert Grant this flag, and so the Métis people used to, when they went out on their buffalo hunts and whatever, they would fly this flag. But in 1816. The government, whoever was governing the Northwest Territories at the time, was Governor Simcoe, but where he got his direction from, I'm not sure, because Canada wasn't a country yet. So it might have been the Hudson Bay Company, it might have been the British, I don't know who said that the Métis couldn't sell pemmican anymore. And that was a big income for the Métis people to go out and get buffalo and make it into pemmican and sell it to the trappers and whoever was all across the West. And so in 1816, I'm not exactly sure on what day, it was probably May, could have been May, it could have been in some other month, but I should have actually researched that. I'm not sure what day. But anyway, it's not, the biggest thing was when they said that the Métis couldn't sell their pemmican anymore, they said, no, we're still going to sell it. So Governor Simcoe set out with 20 men or 25 men to stop the Métis from selling pemmican. And the history books will tell you it was the Battle of the Seven Oaks or Frog Plain. And of course, they tried to say the Métis, it was a massacre. Well, it sort of was, because Governor Simcoe was killed along with his 21 or 22 followers, and I don't think there was any Métis lost in that battle. Anyhow, Cuthbert Grant was the leader. Like I said, he was the leader. I'm not sure if I said that he was the leader, but he later on, he was never ever charged with anything. He actually became an interpreter for Cree and stuff like that later on in his later on years. They never did do anything to him over that battle. But some historians tried to say it was a massacre, but I guess if the Métis were just defending their own right. So anyway, that's about the flag. And I have my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather used to work on the York boats. And that's where they used to put trinkets in the York boats and head all the way up towards York Landing and probably Churchill, up that direction, because they could go that far going on the Red River up to Lake Winnipeg and carry right on up to Churchill or York Landing. And they used to wear sashes, the Métis. Like this is a sash. Me and my wife made this sash. This is just an ornamental sash. It took me and my wife 8 hours to make this sash. So I don't know how they used to make the sashes back in those days, because the sashes that my great-grandparents would have used were wider than this. And they were 14, 15 feet long, because they used them for a lot of things. They used them for a rope to pull stuff and whatever. But when they were carrying and pushing that York boat across the portages, because they had to carry everything across the portages, there was a few. They would have to wear these tightly around their midsection so they wouldn't get a hernia, because if they ever got a hernia, they would die on the trail, because there was no doctors or no hospitals off between Red River and Churchill or York Landing. So that's something that I think about, whatever. So anyhow, at the same time, talking about my great-grandparents, my great-grandfather told my dad, because his dad and him, they used to make the wheels as also for the Red River carts. And my great-grandpa told my dad it used to take them 6 months from the Red River cart to go to Edmonton and back. They used to freight stuff up there and back. They were working for the Hudson Bay Company at the time, because by that time, when my great-grandpa was born in 1859, and some people might think that was a long time ago. Well, it was, but you know what? I was 7 years old when he died. I don't really remember him because I was too young, but my brothers and sisters knew him real well, because they're older than me. So they knew him. And he used, like he said, it took 6 months. So I imagine they had to bring their chickens and maybe a cow and whatever along with them, and they hunted as they went. Killed buffalo along the way for food. So, also, I want to say that my great-grandfather was a cousin to Louis Riel. So I think, just before they hung Louis Riel in 1885, I'd like to sing you guys a song that Louis Riel wrote. And it's all in French, but I will translate it first, and then I'll sing the song for you. So I'll go and get my guitar now, and we'll do that song for you. Yeah, well, I'm all set up here with my guitar, and Louis Riel wrote this song. It's called La Chanson de Riel, and there was some experts figured that he didn't really write it, but because he did, and there's no doubt, he did steal a few verses from some folk songs that were written in the 1600s. There was a few verses, but anyway, I'll translate the song for you. The song starts off, it's on the field of battle where there's crime and pain, and it makes his heart sad. Because he wrote this song after he realized that he was going to hang and there was no recourse, that he tried to get a reprieve or whatever, but Sir John A. Macdonald would have no part of that, and it was very unfairly tried. But anyhow, he wrote this song, and this means lots to me, because my great-grandfather, like I said, was a cousin to Louis Riel, and and my grandmother gave me the words when I was about 14 years old to sing this song, and my uncles and aunts used to say, you have to keep it going. So this is something that I do for the Métis Nation. So anyway, it starts off where it's on the field of battle where there's crime and pain, and makes his heart sad. And he receives a letter from his mother when he's in jail, in prison there in Regina. And he doesn't have a pen to write back to them. So he takes his knife and he cuts his wrist, and he soaks a feather in his blood to write a letter to his mother. And when she sees this writing in blood, of course, she gets alarmed, and she gathers all his brothers and sisters around, and they kneel on the ground, and they pray for their brother who's in the army. So the experts could say what they want to say, but this is Riel's last verse. This is in the words he says, "Death makes us all die, and we all die one day. So I'm better to die a brave man, because we all die one day." Actually, he says, "Death makes us all die, and we each have a turn," which is true. So then, I'm better to die a brave man, because we all die one day. So this is how the song goes. I want to convey it to you guys. Unfortunately, it's all in French, and I did translate it how it goes. It starts off like this. C'est au champ du bateau qu'on voit crimer d'eau. On voit de l'autre part qui fait frémir mon cœur. On voit de l'autre part qui fait frémir mon cœur. Quand je reçois cette lettre de mon cher maman, j'avais ni comme ni encre pour pouvoir les écrire. J'avais ni comme ni encre pour pouvoir les écrire. Ah, j'ai pris mon canif et trempé dans mon sang pour écrire en lettres à ma chère maman. Quand elle reçoit cette lettre, cette écriture ensemble, ses yeux béants de larmes, son cœur s'en va en mollant. Ses yeux béants de larmes, son cœur s'en va en mollant. J'ai dû partir, appelant ses enfants, priez pour votre frère qui est au régiment. Priez pour votre frère qui est au régiment. Mourir, oh tous mourir, tout chacun viendra son tour. J'aime mieux mourir en brave que tous mourir un jour. J'aime mieux mourir en brave que tous mourir un jour. Okay. So a lot of times when I'm talking about Métis people and things, people seem to have a misunderstanding that if you're half French or you're half English or you're half Scotch or whatever, and you're mixed with First Nations, that you are Métis. Well, by the term of the word in French, you are. That is what Métis is. But to belong to the Manitoba Métis Federation, in 1876, the government came out with script. And so the people in Red River all registered, the Métis people that were there, they registered as Métis. And they were given these script documents. I don't know, you probably can't see too much, but this is my great-grandfather, Alexi Liberty, or great-great-grandfather. I'm just not exactly sure. I think it's Alexi is my great-great-grandfather. That was his script document. And on this script document, it'll say, it tells who his mother was, and who his dad is, and then they sign an affidavit saying that they are, in the terminology, half-breeds or whatever. They were called all kinds of things. But this is what you had to have. And this today, you need a document of some sort like this in your family history. Go back that they were given one of these. That way you belong, and their descendants belong to the Métis Nation. That's how it is. It's not somebody that gets involved with First Nations and they have children. Those children are probably would be, if they don't have treaty rights passed on to them, or they can't or whatever, they would be called non-status. So that's the difference between, and sometimes I have a hard time explaining to people that that's the difference between Métis Nation as we know it now in Manitoba and across Western Canada. That you have to start with this, and then from there on. And unfortunately I was going to bring some puck-on nuts, because the Métis people are gatherers. You know, they were like any other people that lived on prairies and whatever a long time ago. They're gatherers, and I had what they used to pick a lot of was puck-ons, and that's like a pecan nut. It grows in the bush, on bushes. They grow about 15 feet high, and anywhere from 10 to 15 feet high, and they're little nuts. And I had meant to bring some, and when I switched bags before I come down here, I left them at home. So that's unfortunate that I can't, you know. And of course we're berry pickers, and we did a lot of that, and that was part of the culture, and living off the buffalo, making pemmican and whatever. So I think I'm going to do another song. Well, I'll do a song because I was talking about Métis and how you be a Métis. I want to do the Métis National Anthem. Is the song that we've adopted as the Métis National Anthem. I might be able to tell you a little bit about who wrote it and who sang it, but I'm not so sure if I can or not. But in the meantime, I'll go get my guitar now, and I will do the song that's we consider to be the Métis National Anthem. Okay, back again with my guitar here now, and I'm gonna play a song that we, as Métis people, have really kind of adopted as being our Métis National Anthem. I know David Chartrand, our president of the Métis Federation, he wanted to get somebody to write one, but this song here describes the Métis right from day one, right to now. So, well, I think we have to stick with this one. I don't think he was really thinking when he did that, but anyway, it never happened, and we still consider this to be our song. So it goes something like this. In the forest, on the river, and across the western plain, as the white men journeyed westward to the land of the Indian, a new race was created, a new nation rose up strong. Hardship as its destiny, it's cursed to not belong. In the land from which they came, in the land they helped to build, they found themselves the alien, found their vision unfulfilled. And despite their valiant effort to defend what they believed, when the last battle ended, they were only left to breathe. We are proud to be Métis, watch the nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadian. From across the plain they traveled, from Red River to the Peace, searching for a homeland that would help them to replace all the land that had been taken and the dreams that had been dashed. Their brave heroes now called traitors, courageous deeds now past. But their spirit was not broken, and the dreams that never died determination strengthened even while the people cried. As they waited for the battle that would end their years of pain, and the final bloodless battle when the nation rose again. We are proud to be Métis, watch the nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadian. For this newest generation and the future ones to come, with the past to motivate us, it will help to keep us strong. As we build the Métis nation and we watch it rise again, our past lost is motivation to inspire our future gain. We are proud to be Métis, watch the nation rise again. Never more forgotten people, we're the true Canadian. Yeah, so getting back to singing here again, do another song. And throughout the years, even Ukrainian people, especially some of those Ukrainian ladies at Johnny's here in town, whatever, if I was playing a song, they'd make requests for the French song. This song was written by Lucille Starr. That's not her right name, but that was her stage name. I used to remember her right name, but she grew up in Winnipeg, and she's a Métis girl, and she wrote the song about 1960 or 61 called The French Song. And so I'd like to share that song with you. It's French first and then English, and they translate for each other, so I don't have to translate it. So it goes like this. Quand le soleil dit bonjour aux montagnes et que la nuit rencontre le jour, je suis seul avec mes rêves sur la montagne, je ne vois pas au cœur du jour. Écoutez à ma porte une chanson du vent, me rappelle les souvenirs de toi. Quand le soleil évolue en montagne, je suis sûr que je ne veux penser qu'à toi. When the sun says hello to the mountain, and the night says hello to the dawn, I am alone with my dreams on a hilltop. I can still hear your voice though you're gone. I hear from my door the love songs through the wind. It brings back sweet memories of you. Quand le soleil évolue en montagne, je suis sûr que je ne veux penser qu'à toi. Over the years, traveling around and playing songs and going to different venues, I meet a lot of people. And I met a little Métis guy by the name of Phil Boyer. He's only about 5 foot tall, and his son is a super fiddler, and they play together lots. They live in Saskatoon or someplace there, and they play a lot of Métis venues. And anyway, he wrote a song called When I Open Up the Show, so I'd like to do that for you. It's When I Open Up the Show by Phil Boyer. Well, I'm driving down this lonesome road from one town to the next. I'm taking care of business, that's what I like doing best. 'cause I'm a country music singer. I'll handle your request. Come up here and tell me all the songs that you like best. I play country rock and soft sad songs, and I bet you didn't know. The thing that I play best is when I open up the show. Now I'm getting ready to play my opening song. It isn't fast, it isn't slow, so you can sing along. And that's our low, the band shuts down. I grab my old guitar, I play a tune just for you, no matter where you are. 'Cause I'm a country music singer, I'll handle your request. Come up here and tell me the songs that you like best. Play country rock and soft side songs, and I bet you didn't know. The thing that I like best is when I open up the show. Yes, the thing that I like best is when I open up the show. Okay, I want to do a song about Batoche, about a young Métis boy that was killed in the battle in 1885. A friend of mine, Alvin Henry from Boggy Creek, played as a professional musician in Winnipeg for years with himself and also with the Henry brothers. They're quite a musical family from Boggy Creek area. So anyway, this song goes like this. It's called Batoche. Lying in a ditch in Batoche, Saskatchewan, a young Métis boy pulls a sash up to his eye. He has fought night and day for his freedom and his right. He knew before they found him he would die. He recalls yesterday when things were better. Him and Michael could ride freely in this land. But he's chosen to fight, he lies dying here tonight, holding Mama's picture in his hand. Mama, come and take away this coldness. I can't see, I've been wounded in my eyes. Mama, will you tell me that I fought brave and proudly till I died? Mama, come and take away this coldness. I can't see, I've been wounded in my eyes. Mama, will you tell me real that I fought brave and proudly till I died? Mama, will you tell me real that I fought brave and proudly till I died? That I fought brave and proudly till I died. Yes, well, we just did that song about Batoche, so I want to do another song about Batoche, and it's called When This Valley. And in this song, I don't mention the name Batoche, I mention the Valley of the Saint Laurent, and that's what that area is called, where Batoche was, or is called the Valley of the Saint Laurent. And the guy that wrote this song is a Métis songwriter and instructor. He goes around and teaches schools, school children, how to write songs. His name is Don Freed, but he isn't famous because of it. He's writing songs or whatever. His famous, I say, he's more famous because he lived with Joan Mitchell, the famous folk singer from Canada, for the last 40, 50 years. So anyway, this is his song. It's called When This Valley. It's about Batoche, but I don't mention it. So. When this valley's no longer a wound that won't heal, when its story is well understood, may infinity fly where the blue of the sky meets the green of the river and the gold of the straw in the valley of old San Laurent. When this valley was young, it was peaceful and free, and its citizens were friends to all. If a stranger was cold, hungry or old, they were taken well care of by an unwritten law in the valley of old San Laurent. When the names of its people are held to the heart in a land that was built with their blood, shamrock, thistle, oak tree, sweet grass, fleur-de-lis, all entwined in a braid, hang forward for soul in the valley of old San Laurent. And this valley's no longer a wound that won't heal, when the story is well understood, may infinity fly where the blue of the sky meets the green of the river and gold of the straw in the valley of old San Laurent. Yeah, I just, in closing, as we're getting down close to the end here of what we're doing here, I just kind of wanted to say that I'm actually involved with Michif language enhancement. And Michif is a language that the Cree spoke, but the Cree, that the Métis spoke, sorry, down south in the southern Michif is a mixture of French and Cree, or Soto and Cree, which is, they're a little bit different, much close to the same. And up north here, they have a mixture of Cree and possibly English, and it's called Northern Michif. And we realize, and we're not asking anybody to learn, although we're hoping that down the road, it might take 5-10 years, that we can get this going, where in the schools they'll give some education on that. And I actually talked to a few people in town whose kids have gone to university, and they had to learn some Michif language education. They took that a little bit as part of their curriculum in university. So it's a slow start. We realize that it's going to take a while, and we want to get this going because we're losing it. And that was the language of the Métis people, was Michif. So we're hoping that that someday we can somehow bring it back and not lose it completely. I happen to know a couple people around Flin Flon that talk Michif somewhat. Maybe it's not the southern Michif like I used to hear, like my mother-in-law and father-in-law talk southern Michif. My grandmother talked southern Michif, where the rest of my family only spoke French, but she spoke Cree and French, so when she heard Michif spoken, it wasn't a problem because she understood both sides of the language there. So our goal with this enhancement for the Michif language revitalization is to revitalize it, and we realize that it's going to be a slow process. we're looking 5 years down the road and then kind of work from there. But I'm on a Zoom program right now with about 30 people from around the province, and hopefully it pans out to be something. I'm not really at my age trying to learn Michif, although I do understand a lot of the French part. So it might not be all that hard if I could put the time and effort in, but I'm hoping that, like they said, if you even know 2 words, use them, you know, just for the fun of it. And there was also people said, and that's for any language. If you're, you know, you put stickers, you know, in your kitchen, and then that way everybody sees it and they know what it means, and you can use those words. And it's just fun to try to get the language to come back. So I will say thanks for listening to me, and good day. So in closing, I hope that anybody that listens to this enjoys it, and hopefully I've gave them some information that they maybe they didn't know or whatever. But like I say, to all the people that are young Métis that might want to listen to this, or even older Métis, get your cards, get your citizenship cards, and be proud of our nation. So I will end with that comment, and anybody that has some questions, give me a shout anytime. I'm always ready to try and answer any questions that come up. Thank you.